Hello and good morning to everyone. It is so nice that you all took the time to join this amazing webinar. I hope it will be fun and also insightful. And I hope you're in front of your computer with a nice cup of coffee, tea, or a glass of water. We have 1 hour together, and I hope you will enjoy this webinar. There are already many people joining. I'm super happy. We will wait one more minute and then we can start with the webinar. Amazing. I think we can start. So, to everyone, a warm welcome to our AMX webinar today with the topic Smartsheet and Power BI, smarter insights for hopefully smarter business decisions. I'm super happy to be able to host this webinar. It will be also recorded. And first of all, one quick note on legal. So in this webinar, we may show features or content that are under development or not available to all users. So we therefore ask you to treat this content confidentially as it may still be subject to change. Many thanks for the understanding. And today's topics you can see here in a quick summary and overview. So now we start with introducing the agenda and also introducing myself and AMX a little bit. As you can see, this shall be done shortly. And then we go to the essentials. So why is good data visualization important? Why does it matter? What's the data that backs that up? And then we want to go to the use cases and the practical applications, which will be our main part. Here we prepared 3 use cases that we want to show you. One is regarding project management, the other one about risk tracking, and the third one around finance. So hopefully this will give you a little bit of inspiration as where combinations of Smartsheet and Power BI make sense and how the different dashboards look like. For instance, if you just build them with Smartsheet or if you build a combination between Smartsheet and Power BI. Then, of course, I want to share also how the integration works. So how do we actually integrate Power BI and Smartsheet? Is the setup working? This is a rather shorter point because it's also very straightforward, and I'm happy to share this, showing some screenshots. So hopefully by the end of this webinar, you not only see interesting use cases around the integration between Smartsheet and Power BI, but you can also set it up. So that would be the aim. And of course, there may be some questions around this topic. So we plan the last 10 minutes on any question that come up. So my name is Christiane, and I'm super happy to be able to host this webinar. I'm Senior Solutions Consultant at AMX since 4 years. Before I worked also 4 years in management consulting, and I'm super happy to be able to use Smartsheet to improve the processes of our customers. We work together with customers in many, many different areas, from supply chain management to finance to project management, and not only in Germany or in the DACH region, but globally. So it makes it very interesting and very, very nice to work with so many different use cases. We are a Smartsheet Platinum partner, which is the partner of the highest rank, and all the consultants that work at AMX are Smartsheet certified. We've been founded some years ago in 2017, and we are very pleased to have received several awards since then. On the one hand, from Smartsheet directly, but also from Financial Times, Wirtschaftswoche, Focus, and Kununu. And in addition to reselling the licenses, we primarily support our customers in building amazing solutions. So this can be in areas like finance, HR, marketing, supply chain management, or project management. And our customers operate worldwide and in various industries. So the solutions that we build are just as diverse as the customers. And we can now proudly look back on a customer base of 100 customers worldwide with a tendency to grow. So I'm really happy, and also I'm happy to share the insights on Power BI, because that is actually something that is requested by a lot of our customers. So many customers use both tools. And since there is an integration possible, we always look how can we enhance the dashboards? How can we make work more easy? So the idea is to be able to combine the tools that you are already using and also teach how these can be integrated within each other to make the life hopefully as easy as possible for you. And I'm sure that during my presentation, there will be some questions. So in the end of the webinar, you already saw that we have 10 minutes for the agenda. So from the agenda, you thought the 10 minutes, we want to fill them. So what I would kindly ask you is to use your concentration and focus during the webinar, really listen and look at what we present, and then also think of own questions. And I'll try my very best to answer them all in the last 10 minutes. If not, for sure, we will come back to you with the answers. So it would be really amazing if you could use the feature. And in case you don't know where it is, it should look like this in the Zoom meeting right now. There should be a Q&A button, and here you can simply click on it and then enter your questions. Amazing. I hope that is all good. So we can actually directly go into the topics, and I want to start with some essentials. So why is good data visualization important? Of course, we all have our subjective opinions. We basically know that just looking at a table is probably a bit difficult for the decisions. Normally, we try to visualize data using charts, using summaries. So that is what we want to do, or what our aim is, especially using tools like Smartsheet. And before the rise of the advanced data analytics, business operated in a much more reactive and manual way when it came to managing data and making decisions. I think it's important to also look back where we come from to appreciate where we are and to put more importance on the part of data analytics. So, for instance, the topic manual data collection and reporting. So data was collected manually, often leading then to siloed information scattered across different departments. This resulted often in a lack of cohesive data that could be quickly analyzed. So as you can imagine, a lack of data, centralized data, means often many time that you need to use in order to basically summarize this data, get the latest data, and then be able to report on it. With that comes the point of limited data visibility. So without centralized data, of course, the company struggled to access the data in real time. So decision makers often had to rely on outdated reports, and this makes it hard to adapt to rapid changes. It causes also an inability to identify trends. So traditional approaches lack the ability to quickly identify patterns and trends in the data, which then slowed down the decision-making process and limited the ability to forecast effectively. And the last point, often my customers really can relate to that. When we have that issue that we have siloed data and outdated reports and the data are not centralized, we basically need to, for instance, email every project manager to please update the report and send it over as a separate file. We come to a point where we need to make a decision, but we are not there yet with the data, with the analytics. So that usually leads to gut-driven decisions. So when we don't have the right insights, many strategic decisions were based on experience, on intuition, on historical performance, and that increased the risk of subjective decision making. And with limited access to real-time data and analytical tools, businesses couldn't effectively predict future outcomes. So in the end, what we got here is bad decisions and not the best way of operating. According to studies, companies that visualize their data are 5% more productive and 6% more profitable. According to McKinsey, the operating margins of companies that visualize data and use it effectively are 60% better. This means that simply visualizing data can make a significant difference. So why not use this for the own benefits? We all want to be more efficient, contribute in a positively way, so we can reach that with the visualization of our data. And that's not all. According to PwC, data-driven organizations are 3 times more likely to see significant improvements in decision-making than less data-driven organization. And Deloitte Insights show that companies that use analytics achieve significantly higher returns on investment. So you can see it all aligns, it all goes hand in hand. We definitely need to find good ways of analyzing our data. So imagine we are a company with teams in different departments, sales, marketing, production, and each department has been working with its own data and reports. This creates data silos that make it difficult for us to get this complete overview. When we now look at integrating Power BI with Smartsheet, we can bring together the data from all these departments and visualize them in real time. So for example, with a new product, when we plan its release, different departments are included. And with Power BI and Smartsheet dashboards, we can immediately see how the marketing campaign, for instance, is impacting the sales figures and how quickly production can meet the demand. And not only does it allow us to recognize trends, for instance, if from my project plan in Smartsheet, that many tasks are delayed and I can visualize that together with the other data, I can then also solve problems earlier, take direct action, and really be fast in the decision making. So that's the aim that we are pursuing. And of course, we search for the best tools to help us with that. And here comes Smartsheet and Power BI. And of course, what we are interested in is taking a look at how it really behaves, so to say, how this integration looked like. And we want to also share some insights to inspire you and to enable you to use this as well. So we have 3 key use cases for projects, and we think that both or all topics are really, really crucial to successfully managing the projects. The first one refers to an enhanced project oversight, so it's around project and portfolio management. The second one is focusing more on portfolio level risk analytics. So we want to share how this can look like, especially the Power BI enhanced version, which is literally my favorite. And last but not least, we want to share a dashboard on financial insights. Okay, before we start, I leave a little bit of room. You have many inputs now from the first part of this presentation. I hope you're enjoying it, and maybe you already think of some questions that you have in mind. Amazing. Okay, so for the project management part, talking about motivation, why, first of all, should we be doing this? Why should we integrate Smartsheet with Power BI? There are 4 main reasons, basically, why it makes sense. The first one is to identify and then also solve risks early. So when we have a good oversight, we can, of course, identify potential risks or issues or roadblockers in an early stage and escalate them early. So that is, for us, very, very important in project management. Then I think we heard it in the introduction already. The aim is always to make better decisions. And we can only do this when we have a comprehensive view of project data. So we can inform our stakeholders, we can make more informed and timely decisions, and that way we improve overall the project outcomes. Also, with a combined view, we can optimize resource allocation. So the proper oversight allows us to efficiently allocate and utilize our resources so the teams can work effectively and stay also within the budget. The fourth point is to be aligned with the organizational goals. So, of course, we want to drive project success. We want to have a positive impact on the overall goals that the company has. And ultimately, when we have this enhanced oversight, it helps really to ensure that projects stay on track, stay within scope, and are completed successfully. That way, we can contribute to the organizational goals. So, in order to reach that, we can, of course, build an amazing Smartsheet dashboard. And here you can see on the left side how a typical setup in Smartsheet would work to guarantee that we can roll out automatically our project templates and then gather the data automatically and visualize the data in a project overview dashboard. So usually the procedure starts with an intake sheet, we call it. So here we get in new project requests, for instance. We can track the approvals. We can use it for prioritization. This is basically our initial list. Then we have created a template set within Smartsheet, which, for instance, can consist in a project status tracking sheet, a project plan with the tasks of the project, a budget tracking sheet, and a risk tracking sheet. We use a tool, a premium application by Smartsheet that's called Control Center. And by the push of a button, when we approve a project, when it's ready to go, we can roll out these templates, rename them accordingly, incorporate it into the system, and that way we generate a standardized and also centralized reporting for each project. The project managers with their teams, they basically fill in and update the tasks, for instance, the spendings, and they have it very easy since they just need to do the work and enter if they've done it or not. And the rest is taken over by Smartsheet, and it comes into a so-called blueprint summary, all the data that is generated on the project. And then we need a calculation sheet where we use formulas to calculate certain things like open versus closed tasks, overdue tasks, etc., etc. After having done those calculations, we can use then the Smartsheet dashboard to actually create the charts to visualize the data. And this can be part of the template set, which means we set it up one time and then it applies for every project. And we generate the portfolio dashboard where the same analytics take place, but over all projects. The advantages are, of course, you can imagine you sit with a cup of coffee in front of your computer in the morning and you directly see how many projects are having issues, are having a red health status, how many are green, did we complete some projects. So all of this contributes, of course. Also, we can drill down very, very easily to the individual projects. So I can show this to you when I go into the system. And we have, of course, a variety of options how we can visualize it. The dashboard that we show here is really literally just one little example in the world of Smartsheet. The good thing is we have fully automated data flows within Smartsheet and fully automated project rollouts. So from simple things like naming the project report correctly, this will do the system for you, up to running the calculations on all the projects. Once this is set up, it will run completely automatic. So that's a very time-saving and positive part. The challenges that we face when we build this up for our customers is that it's predefined. So, for instance, certain charts are the only options, or within certain charts, we have only a few options where we can change things. And also for the process, you need to have more expertise because before you can set up this dashboard, you really need to think through which statistics do you want to build up. For every part of that dashboard, you either need to create a report or a calculation on the calculation sheet. So you can imagine that this creates some work and you need to think it through properly, and you're less flexible. You cannot filter directly on the dashboard, for instance. Okay, so now how does this look like in Smartsheet? Let me show you guys. Here you can see a typical Smartsheet dashboard, as you saw on the slide in the screenshot. The nice thing is everything is really customizable. So if I enter the editing mode, for instance, we see that we have different placeholders basically for the different charts. And if I double click on them, I'm able to make some changes and basically adapt things like the appearance of that particular graph. It's pretty straightforward and easy to learn. The data is, of course, coming live from the live project. So it's always real-time data, which updates automatically. We don't have to do anything. The people can work on the project and we get automatically the insights gathered here. We can also click on different options in the legend here. So we can basically show or not show certain options of our charts, but that is basically it. The underlying process, as said, are different calculation forms for the different charts. Here, a very nice feature, it's an overview report, and we see that there are some links allocated. So actually, if we click on one of the links, we can directly drill down to that particular project, to that particular risk tracker, for instance, and see what is going on. And by simply clicking the back button of the browser, we can go back in a very convenient way to the portfolio dashboard. So we are pretty well organized with such a dashboard. And the good thing is, for every project, we have the same KPIs. So we also track similar things like the budget, what was spent, what is the remaining. And that way, we have really a standardized way of approaching the projects and also the portfolio level. And all this is customizable because the tool should work for you, not the other way around. So it's always adapted in the way that fits the people best. So however they work, Smartsheet fits to this need, we can customize it, and then people are happy because their work life gets a bit easier and the data can get visualized in a certain and easy way. Now, how does the integration with Power BI look like? You can see that the top part is literally the same. We are also on a Smartsheet dashboard right now. And you see if I enter the adjustment mode, we can see that the Power BI is basically a big widget that is placed on our dashboard. If I go out, let me quickly refresh. We can take a look a bit on the Power BI widgets. So 1 second. Here we go. So I think the first thing that we can see is that we have filters on top of that dashboard. So I think that is one of the basically biggest differences. We can directly filter. We can, for instance, pick a certain country, and then all the data on the dashboard is filtered and shown for that particular country. And the project can be managed in Smartsheet completely with the setup that I just showed you with the different templates, but via Power BI, we generate this enhanced visualization with many more options. And I think it's a really nice add-on. For instance, I can also directly interact with the parts of Power BI. I could click on a region here and you will see that the charts display the certain amount of data that is tied to that particular region. So the combination is really amazing, and we have even more options and can use Smartsheet and Power BI in a way to enhance the portfolio dashboard. So you can see the data setup is the same, but we basically don't need that calculation sheet. We can then feed the data into Power BI, do the analytics there, and bring them back on the dashboard. So the positive sides of that is we can directly load the raw data from Smartsheet into Power BI and it will keep updating. So it's also real-time data. And we have more possibilities like drill downs, filters, and we can combine also different filter criteria. So in the end, the interactivity of the dashboard is really high, and we can even visualize more data and add more layers to it. Okay, I leave a short mini break here. I hope that was insightful. Um, Please go ahead and state questions when you have them in the Q&A panel. I saw there are maybe already some in. Yes, I'm really curious to see them in the end. Good. And now we have the next use case, and that is the topic of risks and risk tracking. What we want to reach here is basically a consolidated view across all projects, helping teams to quickly identify potential issues. Here, it's also all about proactive risk mitigation. So we want to visualize the risks using a tool like Power BI and then thereby early detect and mitigate them. So we want to reduce the chance of problems escalating. Oh, and I saw, by the way, that some participants also have questions and raise their hands. I would kindly ask you to use the Q&A panel so you can enter them there. And that way I can go through it in a structured way. And also, if I don't manage to answer everything, come back to you. So best way is enter your question in the Q&A panel. Many thanks. Okay, last point is, of course, improvement of efficiency. So if we streamline the risk analysis and the decision making with interactive tools like Smartsheet and Power BI, organizations can then manage risks more effectively and ensure smoother project execution. Good. How does the Smartsheet version look like? We usually implement a risk register. This can be part of a project or a lone standing tool, so to say. And you can see the similarity to the project management solution. Also here, we implement a calculation sheet or a formula sheet. With that sheet, we first think, okay, what KPIs do we want? For instance, status count, open versus closed, overdue versus due in the next 30 days. And then we build up the formulas or the calculations so that these numbers can then be linked to the Smartsheet dashboard. The advantage is, of course, a very clear and easy to understand visualization of risks. It's also pretty easy or quickly implemented because you technically just need to make some simple calculations, go to the dashboard, and then create a chart out of it. The challenge that we face is that many customers want to visualize a matrix with basically two criteria combined. So the two dimensions to depict them, there are certain forms, and we can also do this via certain reports in Smartsheet, visualize it in a way that comes close. But to be completely honest, the Power BI matrix is just the perfect way to do that. So that is why we usually implement a combination of Smartsheet and the Power BI widget, as you can see here. The setup is the same. We can even stay with the calculation sheet and still have some calculations on top from Smartsheet directly, as you can see here. But the matrix visualization gives a very clear insight. So that is why we placed it centrally on that risk dashboard. And we can also hover over the data points to get more insights, which is also a very nice feature. How does this look like in Smartsheet? Let me go in. So you can see that the top is really pretty similar to what we saw. These are the Smartsheet charts that are feeding from the calculation sheet. And here below, you have the Power BI matrix where you can click on the different data points. You can also filter, for instance, for different actions. You can also just let different levels show, for instance, project or portfolio or others. So depending which risk types you have, you can of course create a filter option here for the different types. for instance, here, portfolio related risks, project related risks, or we can just show all. Yeah, so I think it's a very good combination and a very good way, because here you can directly see how many have a high impact on the project, for instance, and a high likelihood or probability. And you can see from that view that at least we only have one with a very high rating. We can see it's unfortunately German here, but it's basically a delay in the supply. So this is basically what we want to have. We want to directly be able to hover over it and see what is happening here, what the issue is. Here, for instance, the dependency from a customer. Yeah, and that's really it. So we feed the tracker in Smartsheet. We have even a form on that, can enter a new risk, and then this calculation updates itself, and the point gets added to that risk matrix, and we can just check and see how many we have per impact and probability. Amazing. Okay, I hope that this was a bit inspirational maybe for you guys. Maybe some of you already use this. Let us come to our last one for now. Financial insights. So first of all, why should we combine Smartsheet and Power BI for financial data? We have here 4 reasons that can motivate you to do this. First one is to create a real-time view. So integrating Smartsheet's project tracking with Power BI's visualization tools allows a real-time monitoring of budgets, of expenses, and also financial forecasts. This leads then to timely decision making and improved financial agility. Secondly, we want to reach an improved budget adherence. So by providing a comprehensive view of financial data across projects, organizations can ensure resources are allocated properly, reduce the chance of overspending, and ensure that projects stay within budget. The enhanced financial reporting with these interactive graphs, slicers, and filters, with that, users can easily customize and explore financial data. And this clearly enhances the transparency, the clarity. People can understand the underlying data better. They can spot trends or discrepancies and can then quickly enable corrective actions, for instance. So the data should never only lie in some tables where actually only one person maybe is looking at it, and it's a huge, huge data file, and we want to make that available to the right people, of course. We want to visualize it so that people understand better what financially is going on in the different projects. It also ensures operational efficiency. The integration streamlines financial reporting processes and automates data consolidation. This saves time and also reduces manual errors because we do not have to copy data. For instance, the workflow could be like this, that the project manager tracks the budget on each project that he or she leads, and then also enters the spendings for the projects that are planned and the spendings that are really incurred. And that way, what we get out in the end is a project overview of these data points and also a portfolio view. So also the top management can look into the portfolio of projects and see if every project is in scope and budget or if there are some issues. You get also faster support with that. Imagine if you are over budget and you have arguments, you need to usually invest an amount of time to create certain reports, to create certain visualizations, to request, for instance, new budget for that project. When you have a system like Smartsheet and Power BI in place, this can be automatically. So you have your data already there. You just need to present it and basically, yeah, think strategically how you're going to position it. And then the rest, when it comes to reporting and showing the underlying data and showing the reasons why this happened, is already in the system. So that's a very, very helpful thing where you can save some time when strategically leading those projects. This is how the setup in Smartsheet only looks like, so to say. You remember the setup where we roll out the different projects, but always in a standardized way. That allows us to create this overall summary of all the project data and also the budget data. For instance, when we track the actual, the budgeted costs, and then we can calculate the total out of it. So if we have this standardized data, the only thing we need to do in the calculation sheets is think of what we want to calculate. For instance, we can calculate the data per department or overall, and this is what we need to establish in that sheet. The portfolio dashboard, again, offers the advantages of having or creating this overview of all projects, allowing to link the individual projects so you can drill down and basically look up what's happening in the project. And you have the variety of visualization options that are inherent in the Smartsheet tool. Also from the process, it's fully automated, so you do not need to email each project manager to get a new list of spendings. No, they already should have tracked it in the budget tracker, and the system summarizes your data for you automatically. Also, since the process is for each project automatically rolled out, each project is tracked in the same way. So maybe a project manager, you have the case where they name the spending different or they track the actuals in a different way. So running analytics on data that's not tracked in the same way is very, very hard, sometimes impossible. So if we work with this automated project rollout, we definitely save time and have data directly in the format that we needed. Again, the Smartsheet dashboards need to be predefined. We need to invest some time, and we cannot customize it by just going onto the dashboard and clicking on a filter box. Here, Power BI comes into play. We can use the summary that we already have in Smartsheet, connect it to Power BI, and create the widgets within Power BI. So that's a nice thing because the work that you did in Smartsheet is still there. You just connect it to Power BI, and then you have more options and can create the drill downs and filters that allows you then to interactively combine different filter criteria on the dashboard, and you have many more visualization options. So let's look at it here on our Smartsheet dashboard. So this is a classical example of a Smartsheet only dashboard. You see, we have the charts, we have an overview, we see green is always good, right? We are overall green, so that's nice. Taking all the projects into consideration, we did not overspend. And then we can see the actuals by department and can basically see how the departments are performing, how much use of the budget they made. Now the financial performance dashboard here is a bit different. You see that you have different sets of data. This is now just a, again, a fictive example, of course, just to show. And in the departments, we can then basically select some filters to, for instance, only see a specific department, and then the charts also adapt. And this is just one example of how to create that. And it's a very nice way, basically, of adding more value and showing a bit more. You can see here in Power BI, we have also the possibility to combine basically the bars with a line, which is a highly requested feature also for our Smartsheet customers. Currently not possible to combine this in Smartsheet, but you can use Power BI to create such a chart and then put it on your Smartsheet dashboard without the need of creating additional data entries or data reports. You just connect the data that you already have in Smartsheet. Amazing. So that was it regarding the use cases. I hope it was insightful for you. And in the end, how we actually see the focus is, or what we want to reach is a full tech stack integration. So when we work with the customers and we implement Smartsheet and also Smartsheet with Power BI, we, of course, try to combine data from multiple sources like Salesforce, Jira, Google Drive, and other databases. We try to combine that in a single platform, and that way we enable real-time analytics and real-time decision making, of course, over all data that is gathered in the different tools. So Smartsheet is highly integratable. We can pull data from different sources, bring them together in Smartsheet, and then connect the data in Smartsheet with Power BI together. So we create these highly interactive and enhanced dashboard views that you saw in the examples. Also, the nice thing is with this integration, you can also build automated workflows across the tech stack. This reduces, of course, the manual effort and increases the efficiency. So we can leverage the benefits of all tools and basically combine them. And here again, the tools should make your work in the end of the day easier. So we look at setting them up in a way, customizing them in a way that you have more time for strategic thinking, strategic decision making. We do not want people to copy paste reports together because there's a lack of centralized data. We want the system to work that out for us so that we have the time to look at the data, look at the charts, and make good decisions, creatively think on solutions, and develop the business. Good. We are at our almost last point. The time flies. We have a bit more than 15 minutes left, and the good news is that this integration part is really pretty straightforward. So in the following slides, and of course you will receive the material, we summarized on screenshots how Smartsheet and Power BI is connected. So the first thing is usually, or preferably you have Power BI, for instance, as a desktop app, and you can use the option to add data, get data. And here you can then simply search for Smartsheet. And in the search bar, when you type in Smartsheet, Smartsheet should also pop up. And you then select your region of Smartsheet, EU or standard US. And then you are requested to log in into your Smartsheet account. From there, you can then select the relevant Smartsheet sheets that you want to use for the Power BI analytics. Once this is done and you did your work in Power BI and created the analytics that you want to have, you need to do one more step. You need to publish this to Smartsheet. So once your work is done in Power BI, there is a button called Publish to Power BI. And this publishes it from the Power BI app to Power BI Online. It ensures that the data stays up to date. So it's a really important step. When you have completed that, here's actually where you then generate an embed link in Power BI Online. So you open your work in Power BI Online, generate this embed code here via embed report, website, or portal. Then this pops up and you get a link that you can then copy. This link you paste then into the web content widget on the Smartsheet dashboard. So the fourth step then takes place in Smartsheet. You open your dashboard, click on Edit, add a web widget, web content widget, and then in the window that opens up in Smartsheet here, you paste the embed code into it, and then you just resize the widget onto your dashboard. And that's basically it. So that is all that you need to do. And then you create those amazing dashboards. Good. I leave a little break for some more questions. I see you already have been active. That's super nice. Good. Then a general remark. So when we're talking about solution building or building a solution, That means that we create the dashboards and the underlying data that you just saw in a customized and very individual way. So usually what we first try to see is what your target is. So what view of data do you want to have? What insights do you want to generate? How is your reporting structure? How do you usually report financial data or project data or risk data? Then we know how to collect this data in Smartsheet and how to analyze it there. But we also know how we can connect data. For instance, customers usually have data, for instance, in Salesforce, or they have a ticket system in Jira, and there's data also that is related to that project, and we can then connect it and combine it, that in general, the data handling gets easy and the most automated that what we can get it to. So no more copy pasting, hopefully. And then last but not least, to generate those data-driven insights and advanced visualizations, we use then Power BI to load the raw data in Smartsheet in, create more charts and more visualizations, and embed them on Smartsheet dashboards. And usually we create a combination. In that way, we get the best results. So I hope that makes sense to you. And I would say almost there for the questions and answers. I'm super curious already. Before I go and answer the questions, one last information. When you are sitting with your mobile phone in front of this webinar, maybe, here are two QR codes that you can use either to find out more about AMX or to follow us in LinkedIn. This would be super nice because, of course, we have more webinars like this and we inform about them also on our LinkedIn and we share more insights there. We have really nice contributions here around project management, around agile management, and around many, many different projects and topics. So, yeah, I think it's nice if you follow us there. Okay, and now, first of all, thank you for the attention so far, and I will open up the questions that you guys made. Okay, so the first question that I see is, how are the data transferred into Power BI? I basically showed it. I know the question was from before. So it's basically via the Power BI web app that you load the raw data in, that from Smartsheet you select the different sheets that you want to work on, and then you build it out there. So that's basically it. I hope it's answered. Then what is the Power BI dashboard responsiveness and speed? The technical data, I would have to look that up. From an end user perspective, I can at least say that it's similar to the reaction time of Smartsheet. So usually every few minutes it updates itself. I think, let me quickly check around the information. Yeah, I think that's about it, what I can say right now, but I can also research that a bit and come back to you with that. That's a great question. Okay, then another one. Can you show how to set up the data connection interface between Smartsheet and Power BI? Okay, that one was also covered because we saw it on the screenshots, basically. Nice. Then how can you use Power BI to examine trends, for example, to analyze how project milestones such as business go live shift during a project's life cycle? So here you would need to work out a combination. For instance, you track the milestones in Smartsheet and every time it gets shifted. So you need to decide. Usually we track the planned time when it's due and then the actual due date when it was reached. And the discrepancy between both can then be analyzed. And it's up to you how you want to analyze it. You can, for instance, just calculate the difference in working days and then build an average per project. This could be an option. We have customers who visualize it in a Gantt by different milestones below each other, and they have always a row for a planned and actual, and then that way they see the difference in a visual way. Here, there are really different options possible. but it all starts by thinking, how do you actually track the discrepancy and the milestones? And then you can think on different statistics that visualize then if you have reached them, for instance, in time or not. And this trend, or you will then see how the effectiveness is, like, are projects in general more delayed, are they on time, or are they maybe even too early, which in reality usually doesn't happen. And that you can then see, for instance, with a nice Power BI chart, you can combine it with maybe the months or quarters and see during the quarters how your data is developing. Okay, then for which users will this be available? Will it always be live data, or will it depend on the license type? So to fully utilize Power BI, you typically need a Power BI Pro license, especially for sharing the reports and collaboration among multiple users. The free version of Power BI is, of course, also there. It allows also for data visualization and report creation, but sharing and some other advanced features are restricted to Pro and Premium licenses. So great question, and you definitely, or it would be definitely recommended that you have at least a Pro license in Power BI. And in Smartsheet, of course, you need to also, to create those data points, you need to have access to the data if it's already created. You need to also have the rights to access this data to be able to select it into Power BI. Good. Let's see. Is the risk matrix shared created without Power BI? I believe that's this one here. It is created within Power BI. I hope I understand the question correctly, but yes, it is. But this is the widget from Power BI. It has been created in Power BI. Will there be a way to pre-filter according to the user? For instance, certain users only see their own country, similar to Smartsheet reports that filter current user. Um, I believe, or usually when we have requests like this, we create Smartsheet reports in a way that do this. For instance, you can have a master list where you have every employee or user with the country next to it. And that way you could generate an additional filter in the report. If you, for instance, know this project from that project manager is, for instance, for the country Germany, then we would have a hidden column that pulls, for instance, also Germany in. And then you can either work with a checkbox that says, that filters. Yeah, there are different options definitely of creating this. But I believe that work would rather be done, or that thinking process of creating this would be rather done on the Smartsheet side when you create the raw data or the report. Um, of course, or maybe there's also a way in Power BI of creating such a report, but I would intuitively solve that within Smartsheet with certain ways like helper columns that then create some sort of filter that we can use for that request. Was the gun view in the first example created on Power BI? Let me check this one. Yes. So this is a Power BI gun view. So you see the different projects on the timeline. We have also a similar view possible in Smartsheet, which is here. You can see on the right-hand side also the gun view. And in Smartsheet, you can, of course, also set up if you want to see quarters or years on top, or weeks even. So this is customizable. And here you have a gun view, how it's depicted in Smartsheet. Is it possible to share an example of summary sheet? Yes, I can quickly show that. So we call it here blueprint summary. I believe that this is what you mean. So this is a bigger data table where you see many links coming out from the projects directly. And if we go more to the right side, and this is a backend data, so the normal user will not encounter this, will not work with this, but more to the right side, you see, for instance, the live data out of the budget trackers here, out of the statistics sheets. So the data is all linked, and this is what you can then use in Power BI and then do the analytics in Power BI, or you can create, of course, a statistics sheet in Smartsheet and also run calculations on that type of data. How do you activate the Power BI features in Smartsheet? Very nice question. So if we take a look at this example here, as said, you have a Power BI widget, and you see here already the icon of Power BI. And usually it requires you to log in one time. So when it's the first time that I enter that dashboard, I get a little pop up that says, please log in. Then I can log in. The system can check if I'm a shared user to this view. So that's basically how I would say or understand your question of activating the Power BI feature. And then it's up and running, and I can just take a look at the data and also click on the different data and interact with the data. You just mentioned Power BI desktop app required. Can it also be set up using Power BI Teams app online? I believe the online version also works, but I also heard that the desktop version is recommended. That's the only information I can give you to that. So we preferably, when we set it up, also use the desktop app. But as you could see in the last step, we always publish it to the online version. So that way, yeah, that would be the answer on that. Okay, do we have some more time? Yeah, 3 more minutes. There's the question, do we get access to the presentation you are going through? Yes, I luckily have a great team by my side, and usually a few working days later, they will reach out to you and send you the presentation as well as the link to the recording. So in case anything was too fast, you can rewatch it as well, and you get also the presentation. Okay, then there's the question, how can we have a meeting to apply the same process for our portfolio? First of all, I'm super happy that there is interest. Of course, you can get a chance and can get also a meeting with either me or one of my colleagues. The information will be in the follow-up email. So there will be a follow-up email with the presentation material, the link to the recording, and also the possibility, if you need some support, some help, to register yourself for a little free consulting session. So that way we can talk, we can look at your setup, and we can see, is it something that would fit, that would make a benefit, create a benefit, a value for you or not? And this we can take a look at together. Would be very happy. And of course, we can do that. And then just a remark from someone really clear and comprehensive. Thank you very much. Oh, thanks for that feedback. That's super, super nice. Okay, then a question, what about the AI features that are recently added to Smartsheet? Is there any functional link to what you shared today? So first question, the AI features in Smartsheet, they are also released, and of course they offer also functionalities, but it works a bit different, and it's for now more sheet related. For one particular sheet, you can ask AI to help create formulas or insights. Here we are talking more about data from different sheets, from different projects, from different sources, can be also other tools, and combining that then and analyzing that. So, but yeah, the AI features, of course, are also pretty powerful that are inherent to Smartsheet. And then the link to what I shared today. So we will share the presentation and the recording link. If you're interested to learn more, you can also register for the little consulting session, and then we can see if it would be helpful to generate a publish link to one of the dashboard. If you need this internally for your alignment, we can always talk about that in the one-on-one meeting. Is the master data stored in Power BI or Smartsheet? That will be the last question because we are running out of time. Um, yes, it's a very good question first, and it's stored in Smartsheet. So also the summary, the blueprint summary that you just saw, but also the entry level where we get the data in the project requests are lying in Smartsheet, and all the project data are lying also in Smartsheet. Let me quickly reference the first chart so you can see that. Here, this is basically all what you see on that chart is lying in Smartsheet. And when we use Power BI, we select the blueprint summary as a source, build the widgets in Power BI or the charts, and then embed it as a web content widget on our Smartsheet dashboard. Amazing. Thank you so much for the interest and the questions. So look out for the follow-up email, I would say, from AMX Consulting. We are super happy if you want to know more, to talk a bit with you in our 15 minutes free consulting spot, probably with me or one of my colleagues. And thank you so, so much for joining us today. And yeah, let's connect, let's keep the connection. And I'm super happy. Thanks.